Hello, Learning from YouTube 2008. This is Professor Alex Juhasz, and in this short video I'd like to welcome you to our class and tell you a little bit about what we'll be doing this semester and sort of frame that by telling you how that is different from Learning from YouTube '07, a course I taught for the first time last year. And we learned a lot in that class, and what we learned has really affected my understanding of YouTube and how I want to teach YouTube. So most importantly, I'd say our class this year will not be nearly as experimental. It will be a much more normal class. And by that I mean I have set assignments for you. We have 6 books that we're going to read that put YouTube into an historical context, into discussions about the sociology of media, about citizen participation, about home movies. We're not relying on YouTube, as I did the last time I did this course, to set the structure, the terms, and the playing field of the class. A lot of what I did the first time was attempt to mimic the architecture or the structure of YouTube and confine the students, and in that way allow them to see what perhaps had not been so clear to them, what YouTube doesn't allow us to do. We're going to begin this class knowing that, having learned from the previous class, actually using their videos and comments and how that allowed me to think about YouTube as original research, some of the best original research in my opinion out there on YouTube, a new phenomenon hardly written about, and try and build from there. So in fact, one of the things that I learned about YouTube, and we learned as a class last semester, was it was very hard in its structure to have uniform or repeatable experiences across the platform where you would build an idea by moving through a set of videos that somebody had selected for you. I attempted to do that with the tours that I produced for the class, where I tried to make some sense of all of the very many videos that the students had made last semester. There are 6 tours that I produced, and they will create the original structure, or the structure that we'll use for the first half of the class, organized around the themes of education, entertainment, popularity, vernacular, the owner-user dialectic, and the questions of community and archive raised by the site. So for the beginning part of the semester, students will be looking at those tours and building upon the ideas of the students from the previous year in relationship to scholarly books that we'll be reading that situate those tours in a broader context, intellectual context. One of the other differences in the class this semester is that we will be sort of more closed to the general public and the outside than we were last time I taught the course. It was part of the experiment for us to think about what it meant to teach a college class in an entirely public forum. And while it's true that this course will also be held on YouTube, I've created a lot more sort of barriers actually between us and the outside world. To begin with, last year I had a press release that announced the course to the general public, and somehow that got picked up, and so there was a lot of mainstream attention and attention from people who would never know that we existed at the time. And it was interesting to see that for the students, that popularity, that attention, something that everyone seems to seek on YouTube, something that defines YouTube, was pretty much a negative for higher education and for the careful and sometimes dangerous or private work of learning and building ideas together. So while this video is public and the work that students will produce for the class in the forms of videos will be public, not everything that we do will be presented and open to anybody, and be really interested to see if YouTubers out there who have followed the class and are following the class care and are interested in that decision. In some ways, the class this time around, given that it's not mimicking the structure, is just simply less cutesy and appealing in form than it was a year ago. But a lot of that gimmicky stuff that I did again, quite revealing perhaps to the students initially, ended up getting in the way of the real work and the hard work of higher education, where our interest in being able to do in-depth research, our interest in being able to correspond with each other in real time, to work together, were really limited by the site, and we'll make sure that that doesn't happen this year. The final two assignments that we'll do are online research projects, where I will invite the students in the class to find another place online, like our endeavor, Learning from YouTube, that's seriously attempting to think about and study the phenomenon of YouTube, and to do a report on their study, and to respond to them using a video, and to create dialogue across the internet with other serious researchers. And then finally, the last assignment will be to create what I'm calling U-tours, which are like the tour that I'm going to begin with, where a student or a group of students creates an argument about and with YouTube videos, and leads you through that argument, making the links, drawing connections, and expressing their analyses of whatever phenomena they're researching about and on the site. The syllabus for the course will be located in two places if you're interested in seeing what the requirements are for students. The first is on our class page, which is at youtube.com/group/LYFT08, and it will be there in the discussion section. And also it will be available on my blog, which is www.aljean.wordpress.com, where I'll also be reflecting over the semester on my thoughts about this version of the class. So again, welcome. I hope we'll have a great semester. I'm really enjoyed teaching this class last year. I'm glad that I'm doing it in a more traditional way, which is, in some ways, is a little embarrassing to say, I guess, or maybe not embarrassing, but as an avant-garde teacher who enjoyed pushing boundaries, teaching the class in a more experimental way, there's a sigh of relief that the more typical structures of the classroom will hold this time. It'll be interesting to see how you, the students, relate to the course in this more traditional version. And I'm sure we'll see expressions about that and dialogue about that on the site. So I hope that YouTubers will stay tuned to see what my students this semester do with the course. Thanks a lot.